Good afternoon. I'm Samsul. I represent MOVE, the Vape Consumer Advocacy Group here in Malaysia. And thank you, YB. And it's not common that you see a member of parliament who's very well versed in the topic that we are discussing today. You might think that it's common, but it's not. So thank you. I'm very honored to share the floor with YB as well. So I'm here. I've been invited to discuss or to answer this very question: can Malaysia quit like Sweden? And I believe the best way for me to share whether Malaysia can actually quit like Sweden is for me to share the journey that I've gone through as a non-profit advocacy group, from where we started off since 2015 to where we are right now, and the journey that we have gone through. All right, and I call my presentation here "Moving the Needle," and I'll explain to you why. So where did we start? When did all this started? All right. Right, back in 2015, the Minister of Health actually announced that they are going to have a blanket ban over the industry of vape, a total ban. So what we did was, me and a few of my friends got together and we think that we need to do something. So I had an appointment with then the Minister of Health, Datuk Sri Dr. Subramaniam. That you can see me right there, right? So we had a short meeting and I told him that let's not ban vape yet. Let me then present to you our cases, right? What we can present to you. So was way back in 2015. And I would like to share with you guys the speedometer that I have right here. You know, as why I call my presentation "Moving the Needle" is because when we first started in 2015, we were right there, right? It's going to be there's going to be a blanket ban, right? And if you were to see the speedometer here, right in the middle is where we want to be, a consumer-friendly regulation framework or risk proportionate regulation framework, right? And we are a non-profit. Yeah, we don't see ourselves as a pressure group or a lobbyist. And the thing that we do here is that we need to find a balance when we are engaging with government agencies or with government ministries. We do not want it to be over-regulated. All right, so we need to find a balance. And right in the middle is where we want to be, where we can have a framework which is consumer-friendly, which is risk proportionate. But at the time when I first started, we were right there when it was announced that it's going to be blanket ban. Okay, then, once it was announced, earlier on, YB was asking whether there's anyone here from MOH, and I would like to also ask, is anyone here from the media? Show of hands, please. All right, higher, please. Please be responsible and quote whatever we share here accurately, because this was what's been going on since 2015, right? Earlier on, we did mention about misinformation. We did mention about disinformation, and we did mention about malinformation. So these are among the news that was like, the way I look at it, it was more like fear-mongering. Now remember, this is about 10 years ago where nobody really know about what vape is about. And the mainstream media was simply publishing news that was making people scared, among which that was out. This was published by the Young Doctors Association of Malaysia. And they state that vape can cause erectile dysfunction, ED. All right? Now, I've been vaping for 10 years. And I am married. And I have 2 boys, right? Well, my wife can attest to the fact that this is not true, right? I do not have erectile dysfunction, but the thing is that the media has been publishing news as whatever they like. This is what has been happening, all right? Then, I think the logical thing for us to do back then was for us to engage the Ministry of Health. And the news that was going around was that vape is dangerous. It's even more dangerous than smoking. So here we are. We went to the Ministry of Health and we brought in the studies from the Public Health of England, which clearly stated, as a matter of fact, that vape is 95% safer than smoking. And what happened next? It was dismissed. We were just asked to leave. Right? They didn't accept this. Right? Then again, after that, again, the media was like going around by saying that the vapor from vape is dangerous It's hazardous to health. So we brought in the research from Finland that shows that this was a study that was conducted in this manner. They did studies in a house where there are people who are smoking. They also conducted a test where they did a test on the air quality with people who are vaping. And also they tested the air quality in the houses where people are not smoking or not vaping, right? And this is the result. It shows that the air quality in the houses where people are vaping and people who are not smoking or vaping is similar, right? So we brought in this research and we showed to the Ministry of Health. And guess what? We were dismissed again, right? Next, well, this news comes in waves, you know, they're trends. The next one, media, the next one that you guys published was this: vape causes popcorn lung, right? So it was a really big news in the media, and we gathered information, scientific data, and research, and we brought into the Ministry of Health that says that by Cancer Research of UK that vape, there is no science or evidence to show that vape causes popcorn lung. So I brought this research and went to the Ministry of Health, and guess what happened? Dismissed. All right. Right now, this is a big one that was going around the news at that time. You know, it comes in, you know, waves, and they are very organized in the way they publish the news. It says that vape causes cancer, right? Again, we brought in research from Cancer Research of UK that clearly says that there is no good evidence that vaping causes cancer. I brought in this research to the Ministry of Health, and guess what happened? Dismissed, right? The next one, right, when many other topics are not as effective, this is what they brought in. Vape is prevalent among school children. Well, I got to admit, it is true. This is why us, as a non-profit that represents vape consumer group, we made it clear that vape is actually just for people who wants to quit smoking. It is not a lifestyle, it's not a trend, it's just for you to quit smoking, and we do not promote vape to be used by students. But then again, the research that shows in UK, it shows that actually the prevalence of children vaping is actually on the decline. And we have to understand that those who pick up vaping are those in the demographics that is going to pick up smoking anyway. Right? This is what we need to understand. All right, then the next news is that well, we've seen this before, EVALI. All right, we've seen EVALI, and I took out the news from Professor Sharifah, and I went to see the Minister of Health, and she said that what she is trying to say is that this misinformation, this malinformation is really irresponsible because it makes people who wants to quit smoking shy away from it, right? And I guess we need more superheroes like Professor Sharifah who dare to come in front and give her statement officially, right? She's a health professional. We don't have many health professionals who dare to come forward and make factual statement. As you were saying, tell the truth. This is not what's happening here, right? So I guess let's just give a round of applause to Professor Sharifah. We do not have many superheroes like this, all right, who put her profession on the line, okay? So this was happening with the EVALI, okay? Then upon engaging the relevant agencies and ministries, next thing that we do was that we engage with the policymakers, all right? As you can see, I'm in most of the pictures there. I've met with members of parliament, policymakers from both sides of the aisle. I've met with 2 prime ministers, right? And I've gone through on public discourse, you know, because I believe that there are 2 issues here, perception and reality, right? And it is the perception that we need to address. And if the perception is being shaped on mainstream media, that's where we have to address it. Okay, you can't address the perception that has been shaped by mainstream media on social media. It's not going to work. So we engage them on mainstream media, and I think that it is not difficult for us to put our case forward because the facts, the science are on our side. All right. So after all this effort, which took many, many years, the 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 um, the scale seems to tilt a bit, right? From blanket ban to somewhere gray area. You know, there's no enforcement, it's not banned, we don't know where we are right now, okay? So that's where we are at after many years of engagement with policymakers and with the relevant ministries, all right? Then came GEG, the announcement of generational endgame. You can see there's Khairi Jamaluddin, the health ministers at that time, and the one in the mask is me actually, right there. Okay. I need a whole episode to discuss about this, but I do not have the time because I need to compress 10 years of advocacy work in 15 minutes. If not, you know, Suli was telling me, I'm going to give you the look if you go over time, right? So I do not have the time to explain what happened here, but in short, KJ just gave me an ultimatum. This is the truth. Not many people know this, right? Feel free to quote me on this. He told me, Samsul, get all your friends to agree about GEG. If not, we are just going to blanket ban vape. Outright. This was the ultimatum that was given to me. So I did not agree with GEG as YB, and we engaged with a lot of policymakers, and somehow it was turned down. Yeah, it was directed to the select committee. Then in the end, KJ did not have time to bulldoze it over in Parliament because the Parliament was dissolved. Remember that, right? Right. Now, what I'm trying to tell you guys is that over 10 years we've been engaging with the Ministry of Health, and we did not see much movement of the needle until with KJ and GEG, this is like from here it went to over-regulated. Yeah, it's over-regulation, and then we start to engage with the Ministry of Finance. That's when everything happens, right? That's when the government decided, okay, we are going to regulate it. And this is where we are right now. The framework is quite clear, but I do not have the time to share with you guys. We can have the conversation outside during coffee. But we've been briefed on the regulation framework as how it is going to be in Malaysia. But the last time that I was informed by the little Napoleons in the Ministry of Health, they said that the free-base liquid is going to be banned. They're going to allow pots and disposable. Okay, so things are moving on. When we engage with the Ministry of Finance, you can connect your own dots why that is so. All right, so that's where we are right now. Okay, where we have a regulation framework which is consumer friendly, which is risk proportionate. All right. Now, this is the answer as to whether can Malaysia quit like Sweden. Professor Sharifah was saying earlier on that we prescribe to the doctrine of WHO. Right. Now, on that fact, I think we have to go through on the WHO charter that says that Article 1D of the FCTC defines tobacco control to include harm reduction. It's already there in the WHO charter. So I guess if our Ministry of Health subscribe to the doctrine of WHO, just tell them that, okay, we agree, right? Because the charter says that tobacco control is to be included in harm reduction. It has to be, okay? Now, why this is important? Why harm reduction? I think vape or vape-related products must be embraced by the policymakers as a harm reduction tool because it solves all the problems on three fronts. Okay, when it's regulated, the government can at least estimate to have a tax revenue of up to 1 billion ringgit. All right, and we can project the industry is going to have an increase of 2.27 billion ringgit in terms of sales. This is in terms of the industry. But the most important point is that we can reach a smoking prevalence of 5% to 2040. And all this needs to happen only if the policymaker were to embrace vape products as tobacco reduction tool. All right? I guess I'm done. But lastly, I would like to say that for some of my friends who have been doing the advocacy work for 10 years, we are facing advocacy fatigue, right? But we are going on because we believe that what we do is important because it saves lives. Thank you.